So picture this. It's the end of 2025, and the aerospace company Rocket Lab is, well, they're on top of the world. We're talking record-breaking success, a massive government contract. Everything's going right. But if you happen to glance at their stock chart, you'd see a completely different story, one full of turbulence. So let's unpack the wild contradiction at the heart of Rocket Lab's recent roller coaster ride. First up, let's talk about the good news. And believe me, there was a ton of it. By the end of the year, Rocket Lab had pulled off an incredible 21 launches of its Electron rocket. That's a new annual record for the company. Just flawless execution. And then, the big one, the blockbuster announcement, a huge contract from the U.S. Space Development Agency. Now, this wasn't just another win. This was a game changer, the kind of news that should, by all accounts, send a stock absolutely soaring into orbit. But here's the crazy part. That's not exactly what happened. Right in the middle of all this fantastic news, the stock just hit a snag. It dropped, suddenly. So what on earth was going on? Let's break it all down. So what we're going to do here is try to understand these two powerful and totally opposite forces that were yanking on Rocket Lab's stock. You had this incredible surge of good news on one side, and on the other, this kind of gravitational pull of concern. All right, so the moment that really got everyone talking happened on December 23rd. The stock gapped down. Now, all that means is that the stock opened for trading way lower than where it had closed the day before, with no trading happening in between. It was just this sudden, sharp drop that left a lot of people scratching their heads. Okay, so let's start with the bull case, all the reasons to be super optimistic, because honestly, it's incredibly powerful. You really have to appreciate just how good the good news was. This is the number that changed everything. $816 million. That was the value of the largest single contract Rocket Lab had ever won, coming from the U.S. Space Development Agency, or SDA, which is part of the U.S. Space Force. But look, that big number, that's just the headline. What this deal really meant was that Rocket Lab was now a prime contractor for a critical national security mission. They were tasked with building 18 highly advanced missile tracking satellites. This deal more than doubled their backlog, and with other opportunities in the program, they could end up seeing $1 billion from it. I mean, this was a massive, massive level up. And all this optimism was built on a solid foundation of trust. The company wasn't just saying it could handle these big contracts, it was proving it over and over again. Nailing 21 launches in a year with a perfect success rate, that sends a powerful message to the market. You can count on us to deliver. So of course, Wall Street started paying very close attention. Analysts were practically tripping over themselves to upgrade the stock. Stifel jacked its price target up to $85. Then Needham came out with a new street-high target of $90, saying this SDA contract totally transforms the company. You could tell the professional money was getting seriously excited. Okay, but at the exact same time, a totally different story was unfolding, one that was creating some real caution for other investors. This is the pull of gravity we were talking about. So what was the main thing that caused that gap down we talked about? It all came down to a flurry of headlines about insider selling. You know, when executives or directors sell their own company's stock, it can make the market nervous. It makes people wonder, do they know something we don't? But hold on, because the context here is everything. The sales that were making headlines, like the ones from Director Merlin St. Hill, were all done under something called a Rule 10b5-1 plan. Now, this is just a pre-scheduled automated selling plan that insiders set up months in advance, in her case, way back in September. It's a totally legal way for them to sell shares without ever being accused of trading on secret info. So it was less a sign of panic and more just scheduled financial planning. And it wasn't just those insider selling headlines. If you looked under the hood at the numbers, you could see why some folks were getting a little nervous. The stock had run up so much, so fast, that its market cap was sitting around $40.5 billion. Its PE ratio, or price to earnings, was negative, which is just a fancy way of saying they weren't profitable yet. And even with those splashy new analyst targets, the average target was still way below where the stock was trading. In a word, the stock looked expensive. So you've got these two totally opposite stories, right? How do you make sense of it all? Well, the answer really lies in looking beyond the present. See, Rocket Lab's stock price at that moment wasn't just about how they did in 2025. It was a massive, massive bet on the company's future. And to understand that bet, you have to understand the two rockets at the heart of the company. On one hand, you've got Electron. That's their workhorse, the proven, reliable rocket that built the company and is responsible for all their current success. But on the other hand, you have Neutron. This is their next-generation reusable medium-lift rocket. And Neutron isn't just an upgrade. It's the key to their entire future growth, the thing that could justify that really high valuation. I mean, the promise of Neutron is just huge. It's built to carry way heavier payloads. We're talking up to 13,000 kilograms. It's got this world-first reusable fairing, they call it the Hungry Hippo, that's designed to slash costs. It's tailor-made for launching the huge satellite constellations that everyone is building. And the first launch, that's scheduled for 2026. So if you're watching Rocket Lab, what's next? What are the big things to keep an eye on in 2026? Well, it really boils down to 3 key milestones. Number 1, can they actually deliver on that giant SDA contract, on time and on budget? Number 2, does Neutron hit its testing goals and stay on track for that first launch? And number 3, can they keep up Electron's perfect launch record? Hitting those 3 points is, well, it's everything. And that really brings us to the big final question here. We know Rocket Lab can execute. Their record in 2025 is undeniable proof of that. But the market has already baked in a huge amount of future success into that stock price. So the real challenge, the billion-dollar question, is whether the company's performance can actually live up to its stock's sky-high expectations and truly defy gravity.